Okay, so today's webinar is how digital marketing will help you rebound from COVID-19. Obviously, I'm sure you're all sick and tired of hearing about COVID, but it is something that is real. We're currently dealing with it. It's changing every day. We're in Colorado and we are headed towards another stay-at-home order. So things are definitely out there. We have to be mindful of it. And hopefully this webinar will help you better understand exactly the role that digital marketing plays in your ability to stay afloat or just in general rebound. I know there's been a lot of losses as it relates to this pandemic. So agenda, we'll spend a little bit of time talking about Rushstream. I'll share exactly what we do and how we assist our independent hotels that we service. And then we are going to jump really into the meat and potatoes of the reason you're here today. So we'll cover the changes in travel trends, the tips to reach new travelers, and what your vendor should be doing to help you along the road. So about Rushstream, we're founded in 2005. We are at the 8th floor here at the top. We don't own the entire building, but we do lease a good portion of the top corner. We can see west facing, so we have the mountains, and then we also can see a good old-fashioned highway. We service independently owned properties. That is our bread and butter. We believe in the value that we can bring, allowing them to be competitive with those bigger hotel chains. We offer a software as a service technology. So again, all online, cloud-based access from anywhere. Our clientele is primarily in North America. We are privately owned, and we are a small team of about 20 professionals, hospitality experts that range from internet marketing, hospitality website design, your property management software, online booking engine. So we are independently very competitive in each of those on their own. But what really sets us apart is what I have highlighted in blue. So we've been doing this for 15 plus years. We have proven results. We have the superior customer service and an ecosystem of lodging tools. Those three combined, you're not going to find that anywhere else out there in the market as it specifically relates to you trying to drive more visitors to your website, convert those people into paying customers, and then managing them. So this graphic here is really intended to illustrate what we mean when we say ecosystem of lodging tools. For today's webinar, we are going to be focusing on the marketing component, which is all about attracting the right guests. Again, what really sets Rushstream apart is our ability to follow the guests throughout their entire buying journey, from the minute that they start their search online, all the way to assisting you as a hotel operator, owner, in managing that guest during their stay. So we're going to use our marketing and the tactics there to attract the right guests. We're going to get those people and drive them directly to your website, where we're going to really enhance that online experience, tell your unique story, present your brand in a very reliable fashion. And with that website, the focus is all about driving those direct bookings, utilizing our booking engine that's really intended on converting those lookers into bookers. I'm sure that's a term that you've heard. And then again, we kind of loop and close that whole process here with providing you with the property management software that you're going to need to manage that guest pre-arrival, during their stay, and post-arrival. So our ecosystem, again, of lodging tools covers that entire guest journey. We offer all of the components that you see here, the marketing, the website, the booking engine, as well as the software. Okay, so again, the reason that you guys are all here today is really to talk about, what's going on in the industry. A lot of the stuff that I'm going to cover here in this particular section are things that you are very familiar with. You are dealing with them day to day. It's important for me just to really set the tone to make sure we're all on the same page here. So to get started here, obviously one of the biggest things that's changed for all of us is the safety being the number one priority. More often than not, that's the first thing that people are looking for when they visit your website, find you on an OTA. What are you doing to adhere to the new guidelines that different states are instituting to make sure that we're being safe? And then is there anything that you're doing above and beyond to really drive home that point? So obviously, the mask, the hand sanitizers, social distancing, the ability to have that contactless check-in, so there's no personal face-to-face interaction, or at least you can limit that as much as you can. There are some properties, believe it or not, that are doing the non-invasive temperature check. So whether that's a temperature gauge gun at the minute you walk in the door, and then some of those advanced hotels, and these are usually the chains, they have technology that can scan it automatically, and you don't even know what's happening. Again, the ultimate goal there is just to make sure that you are being mindful of the guests and your existing guests who are already on property, making sure that you're not, playing a role in, the particular virus spreading. A second thing that obviously has come from this is cancellation policies have been overhauled. We are doing things in the industry that we typically have always kind of stayed away from, but it's more important now for us to be as flexible as we can be, understanding the nuances and how frequently things are changing. So some of the call outs here is the ability to move the reservation to a later date. That's really an easy one. If those people aren't really, concerned with a refund, obviously they want to travel, they want to stay at your hotel, now is not the right time. The other option is, offloading that refund to a gift card. So, hey, we don't want to lose that money. Let's give you a gift card. You can use this whenever you want at any point in time. So you guys obviously get to keep the funds at the property in hopes that they will come at a future date. The ability to cancel within 24 hours, this is obviously a challenge. Every cancellation, especially last minute, definitely go against you as it relates to really hitting those goals and those marks. But with what's going on, you never know why people may need to cancel. They may have contracted the virus. They may have been around someone who has had the virus. And them being mindful of the safety, especially for you and your guests, it's important for them to have that flexibility. And then one of the other things that we're also seeing is a wave of cancellation fees. So whether it's like you're waiving that percentage towards a reservation, maybe it was a flat rate, just being flexible and saying, hey, we'll just give you 100% refund, good faith, hoping that when things are right, you'll want to travel and you'll want to stay on our property. The next set of changes here, again, international travel is at an all-time low. That's pretty obvious. A lot of what people are doing is staying domestic, staying within the U.S. And furthermore, kind of to the second point here, people are trying to stay as close to home as possible. So road trips are, kind of taking the place of airline flights. People are planning to drive more frequently than they have in the past. And for those people who are flying, they're looking for something quick, 3 hours or less. They don't want to be crammed on a plane longer than they have to. And I recently have heard that, Southwest is going to be selling every seat on the plane. So whereas before they like to try and leave the middle seat open, they're fighting. They want to go ahead and open the doors. They believe the safety standards that they have in place are enough. So just be mindful of that when you're looking at your audience, who you want to target. They're looking to drive. You want to focus on those local markets, within 30 miles, or maybe 30 minutes to an hour, in some cases a couple hours, just depending on the geographic terrain you currently reside in. Another one here, and this is the last kind of slide that I have really covering the changes in the travel trends, is last minute bookings are up. So because of the unknowns, because of the cancellations, people aren't getting too far ahead of themselves with reserving their particular hotel stays, flight arrangements, whatever it may be. They're saving their money. The money is there for them to travel. Again, it comes down to safety. Is there any guidelines that are restricting travel? How far am I traveling? What is this particular property doing to keep me safe? What are the state mandated rules and policies to ensure that they're going to be safe? So just be mindful of that when you guys are kind of forecasting. And you probably have seen this already. Some of those, month in advance reservations, yearly reservations maybe aren't happening at as high of a rate as they were before. But you might be seeing that uptick in those quick last minute reservations within a week, couple days. And then the last one here is OTAs have lost some traction. Now, there has been a study out recently that says OTAs are going to play a very big role in the travel industry moving forward. A lot of the reason there is just because, you know, as a potential buyer looking for a place to stay or traveling, those OTAs have always been a go-to for them to compare rates and see what's out there. So naturally, they believe that guests will look to those channels as they continue to, express their desire to travel. With that being said, for you as a property owner, hotel operator, you have been mindful of, hey, that commission to get that booking, is it really worth it? Should I be really trying to drive that direct reservation? Answer to that question is absolutely. And that's what we really try and do for our clients is maximize the direct revenue coming directly through your booking engine, understanding that OTAs will still play a role. They shouldn't be our driving factor. So a couple things you could do with the OTA channels is just updating it, letting people know, hey, there's some direct booking benefits if you visit our website. Also visit our website to better understand exactly what our policies are for COVID. Even hopefully, and then making that transition from an OTA directly to the website, the property website, the visuals, the pictures, do enough to really drive home that selling point so you can encourage that direct booking. All right, so let's shift gears here and talk about a couple tips just to kind of reach new travelers. Essentially what we're looking here to do is try and provide some perspective of thinking outside of the box a little bit, or just really honing in on the importance of some of those things that you may have always known, didn't have the time for. Maybe you didn't really look for that when you were looking for a vendor, but they're more important now than they may have ever been. So invest differently is the first thing that we're going to kind of talk about here. And there's three different things, and I kind of have that similar layout for the next several slides here. But implement a SEO strategy, search engine optimization strategy to really grow your organic reach and drive direct bookings. SEO is the foundation. It is literally people going on Google saying, I want to travel here, and you show up in their listings. That is usually going to yield the highest return on investment because what you may hire an agency to do is going to cover everyone who will search on your website for you and make it to your booking engine. It's a long-term gain. So if you have found yourself having to cut back in maybe this particular channel, I would strongly consider that it's more important now that you stay in the forefront, that you're always visible for people to be able to find you when they're ready to book. You don't want to start to lose that traction in the search engines that you may have gained over time. The second thing here is adjusting your Google Ads ad copy. So include all the different things that you're doing from a safety standpoint, provide them the information as it relates to your cancellation policies, make it very sweet to the point. And again, with Google Ads, you're really paying for the click. So those people who click on those ads are more likely to either A, already have some type of investment in the brand, or B, truly think and believe that what you have in that message speaks to their specific need. And then the last thing there is beefing up your promotions. So that could be either offering more amenities in your and services with the particular package that you have to just further incentivize it, give them an incentive to book that particular promotion. Or it may be removing some things from that promotion to bring the cost down while still focusing on that direct reservation or that reservation as a whole. And then the other thing that strongly recommend is the loyalty program. Airlines do this very well. You buy a credit card, you get some points. If you book using this channel, we'll double your loyalty or whatever it may be. So think about those particular things as well. When you're sending out email campaigns, when you're having messaging on the website, hey, if you book direct, we're going to double the points that you receive on the reservation. So rather than dollar for dollar point allocation, you'll get two points for every dollar you spend. Those are things that people will believe in, and that they know that if they do that later on down the road, having that bucket of loyalty points to rely on will only help them again with a future reservation. The next group here that we have is refining your target audience. So again, focus on those local markets. I know a lot of us already kind of do that. We like to own that area that we're in. What you may also want to consider, and I'll speak directly for us, we're located in Denver, Colorado. We have a lot of mountain towns around us. So if we were running a hotel downtown Denver, obviously we're focused on more of the city, those particular areas. What we may want to do now, if we refine our market, is really look at those mountain regions, those mountain areas, expand a little bit, keep it within the state of Colorado, and really start to drive people to Denver rather than Estes Park or wherever they may be, Colorado Springs, or as an example. Another thing here is attracting a younger generation. Believe it or not, they are rebellious. They still want to get out and about. They want to travel. They're less concerned with the risk that comes with it. Obviously, when you hear different reports and younger generations maybe not being as impacted by it as others, that's just something for you to hone in on. Maybe hasn't always been your wheelhouse to get those younger kids in, but at this point in time, we're looking for that revenue. That younger generation will grow older, so if we get them engaged and interacting with our brand now, as they grow and their families start to develop, they'll be thinking about you again. And then the other one here is really, really outside of the box, offering housing to healthcare workers. A lot of different hotels, or I wouldn't say a lot, some have, especially those in those hot spots, have opened their doors to healthcare workers. So whether they offer discounted rates, whether they're the hub for people who may have contracted the virus, whatever the case may be, working closely with the community goes a very, very long way in you establishing a brand, and more importantly, just making sure you can, bring in a minimum stream of revenue. And then the last topic here is just staying connected and staying engaged. Use all of the channels that you have to promote as much as you can, your safety measures, your cancellation policies, your availability. So that means using your marketing, like I said, your SEO, your PPC ads. It means updating your website, having a COVID landing page, having direct booking benefits, having calls to action. That means using your social media channels to communicate all of those things. Updating your OTAs as well to make sure that they understand, the changes that you're doing. Email your past guests, stay in front of them. If nothing else, just give them a reminder, hey, here's what we're doing to keep things on the cleanly ends. Here's what we're doing from a safety standpoint. Here are our reopening dates. Here are our promotions. Here's what you can get with the loyalty program. So just stay engaged with those people. This is not the time to go quiet. You want to stay in the forefront of them. Understand that people are getting antsy. They want to get out of the house. I want to get out of the house. We all want to travel. We want to get back to some type of normalcy, but we also have to understand that, it's different. And then I alluded to this a little bit earlier. I just kind of said it, update your OTA listings. So communicate your direct booking benefits, communicate your safety measures, make sure your rates are in line where they need to be. Make sure you're focusing on those particular OTAs that drive the bulk of your revenue if you're working on multiple different listings and things like that. So just make sure that you're keeping that stuff updated, you're staying engaged, you're staying connected, and it's an ongoing thing that you're refining over and over again. Okay, so where I want to close at is really kind of outlining things that your vendors should be doing. These are obviously specifically related to the marketing side of it. So what are they doing to help you find new visitors, new guests? What are they doing to get them to your website so that you have that opportunity to win them over? A lot of what you're going to see here specifically goes into what it is that RezStream does. So first and foremost, do your best to always try and find a vendor that understands the entire guest journey. A lot of times what tends to happen is you find a marketing agency, you work with them for a little bit, you got a different person building your website, your booking engine and your software is somewhere else. In times like this, when things need to change, when you need to adapt, it's more difficult when you're handling multiple vendors to kind of navigate through. So if you can, try and find somebody that is an expert in everything, whose tools and solutions are competitive enough to yield the same results if you went a la carte for each one. So understanding how people search, what they need to buy into your brand, what is necessary for a guest to book direct, and the tools that you need to make sure that you're managing them directly. So first and foremost, we touched on it, search engine optimization. This is the foundation. In doing a lot of research and looking at our historical data, 53% of your traffic should come through that organic channel. So if you're not seeing roughly around that area opportunity for you to improve and to really open your nest as far as visitors that you can capture and drive to your website. What that means here is doing a couple different things, updating to unique title tags, description tags, and refreshing your content. Optimize your Google My Business listing. Address any type of website speeds. That's really always going to be important. Once somebody finds you online and they click visit this website, how long is it going to take for that to come up? That goes a long ways. And then just understanding the value that you bring, service that you provide, and then do any type of backlink audits. See what links are providing traffic for you, identify if there's links that you're paying for, should you put more allocation there, or finding new channels, new websites, new directories that can link to you to provide and build your domain authority. Again, that is the foundation. Optimize your pay-per-click strategy. So this is really about staying in front of people, making sure that you're running those ads, you have a budget in place, you're only paying for the click. So you can have a PPC program that allocates $100 a month, and that's all you spend, or you can be very aggressive, $500, $1,000. It's up to you to really decide. But again, what you want to do is make sure that when people are searching for you, even maybe a competitor, that they're being able to see things highly called out at the top of the page before they get to that organic channel down there towards the bottom. So talked about it earlier, refresh your ad copy, enable ad extensions, which really allows you to show any type of extra business information with your ad. So things like your phone number, your address, hotel rating, or additional pages to link to your website, which might be the room page, could be a specials page, it might even be the booking engine just to get them there directly. Implement negative keywords. So this is really the process of adding keywords that prevent your ad from being triggered. So you don't want just any and all words that are searched to have your ad be visible for them. You want to be very specific because you're allocating a certain amount and you're paying for a click. So be targeted, know who you're going for. Always report on it, look back and see if you need to adjust who those keywords are, what those keywords are. And then obviously that kind of leads into the last one. This is something that your agency should be looking at least once a week. Trends and things like that are changing. What people are searching for is changing. COVID is changing. So just making sure that you understand that if you've made a change, is it yielding results that you want? What are the impressions? What are the clicks? And making those improvements on an ongoing basis. The other thing you should consider is think about leveraging meta search channels for direct booking. So these are those Expedias and things like that. Meta search is basically a way to be seen with those other OTA or bigger channels when people are kind of looking for their search. So 72% of travelers are regularly using the meta search engines when they're doing their searching. So it's important for you to try and do your best to be visible on those particular channels. It also suggests that by having meta search in place and utilizing the channel, you can see an increased direct bookings, they say on average up to 13%. So as you can see in the screenshot here, this particular hotel is showing their direct rate in line with all of those other meta search channels, hotels.com, Expedia, to really give people the incentive. Hey, there's no reason for me to go to Expedia if I can get that exact same room for $50 cheaper. Things that you want to consider there is enabling local targeting or location targeting. So that's, again, just being very specific in the region, the geographical area that you target, thinking about that local market. Address any type of rate parity. So making sure that your rates are in line on all the different channels. You don't want your meta search rate to be higher than a rate that somebody might find on Expedia. And then again, adjust this information on a weekly basis. You should have somebody who's consistently looking at those numbers seeing the reservations come through, seeing the clicks come through, looking at the bounce rate to see if it's a rate issue, if it's a content issue, to make those changes on a regular basis. The next thing here is blogging and posting on social media. Obviously, at this point in time, people are stuck at home. I looked recently at my phone, and it has a way of telling me how much time I spend on, each app in my phone. I was at 70% on social media platforms. So, yes, I'm working, but at the same time, I'm stuck at home and I'm off of work. I have very little to do as it relates to engagement. I don't want to be out and about all the time. So, I'm always on social media looking for those different deals, promotions, what's going on, who's doing what. When I want to travel, where should I go? What are people doing so I can just stay in the loop? So typically speaking, when you're working in your blogs or on your social media, there's an 80-20 rule. 80% of the content that you create should be non-promotional. You're telling people what to do in the area. You're talking about your safety standards, maybe cancellations, maybe you're doing a guest review when you're just communicating their experience at your property. And then the other 20% is that promotional content, package, a special that you have, a deal that you're running. You want to be very mindful that you don't overwhelm people with deals. You don't want to, lessen the value of your brand. At the same time, we understand that, people are conscious of their spend. So making sure that we have some of that out there is important. Feature real-time images. Even when you're working with an agency, if you have somebody on staff that can consistently provide them with, photos of what's going on at the property, or if you guys have a process where you upload photos to the website, and then your vendor is able to go on there and pull those websites down, people want to see that experience. They don't want the stock photography and get a different impression when they make it to your property. And then you want to research for local questions and topics for content opportunities. So again, having somebody who's understanding what people are searching for in your area. When people come to your website, what pages are they going to? What things are they finding to be of interest? You want to continue to develop. Every blog post that you create is an opportunity for you to be found in the search engine. So going back to SEO, part of that is content. Creating a blog, creating a new page on your website gives Google another opportunity to crawl your website and provide your website as a result when people are looking for a place to stay or something to do. Email marketing, again, we touched on that. Very important just to stay in front of those people and stay engaged. What your vendor should be doing is making sure that your domain is authenticated. Basically, what this does is it improves the security and deliverability of those emails that you come out. And for those different email platforms, they're always looking at those domains and say, is this a trusted sender? Should I send this to the spam folder or not? A lot of this stuff, again, you may have already had in place, but if you're, going after new people, you are looking for ways just to improve upon a method, that's definitely an area to start. Monitor your unsubscribe rates. Figure out why people are unsubscribing. Was it a particular promotion that you ran and it came across too salesy? Maybe it's a particular demographic that might be unsubscribing. Just be mindful of that so you can improve your next email campaign. Again, the people that you're working with, that you're hiring, that is what they should be doing for you. You should be focusing on the guests. You should be focusing on the safety measures that you have at the property, and allow those people to really be looking at those responses, looking at those metrics to provide improvements along the way. Always update your contact list before you send it out. So you don't want to send it out to people who've opted out, or you don't want to send it out to people who are no longer taking action, or maybe aren't opening the emails. You might want to do something different with those people and segment them into a different list. And then use A/B testing. A/B testing is a great way for you to let those people in your list decide what message means the most, provides the most value for people to open an email. So you can A/B test the subject line, you can A/B test the photo, you can A/B test the call to action. Any of those things are fair game for you to get better insights into what's really driving people to take the desired actions that you want clicking that button, making it to your website, and obviously driving a reservation. The next thing here is remarketing. This is a very, very effective way. I'm sure you guys have seen it and you wonder maybe, why is this particular company following me around everywhere I go? Well, specifically in today's time where people are a little bit, unsure of when to travel, they made it to your website, they did their research, but they're just waiting for the right time to make that reservation. Maybe they're waiting for that particular state's guidelines to be lifted. Maybe they're waiting to see some other type of trend or pricing for airlines to change. So for you to stay in the forefront of them, remarketing is a very effective way. As you can see in the graphic, basically what remarketing is somebody visits your website, you're able to identify that person very low level, you assign them an ID, they go somewhere else shopping for shoes, looking for things for the house, and now they see an ad for you that comes up, and maybe that ad is offering a discount, maybe it's reminding them of the safety needs, whatever the case may be. It's just your way to stay in the forefront of them, making sure that they can see your brand wherever they go for a period of time. So when you're working on your remarketing ads, make sure you refresh the ad copy. You want to make sure it's, new every 30 days or so, just to give people something different. You don't want them to grow stale of the message that you have. Test different win-back offers. So an example of that is 10% off featured in the third campaign versus a complimentary bottle of wine to figure out which one is going to yield the most results or the best results. Some people may be looking for the discount. Some people may just be looking for a little bit more in the package that you're offering to really, get them over the hump. Refresh any type of privacy policies that you have. So just making sure all that stuff is up to date. And then utilize frequency capping, which is basically saying, hey, I only want this ad to be seen X amount of times within 24 hours. Again, that way you're just not overwhelming people with the message. You're giving it some time, letting it breathe before you re-engage with that message. The next one is somewhat similar, but this is a little bit more invasive in the fact that like remarketing, you're going to kind of follow that person around, but really here it's called booking engine abandonment. This is the process of somebody finding you online, they make it to your website, they jump into your booking engine, they start a reservation, but for whatever reasons, they jump out of there. Distraction at home, they shouldn't have been on the computer because they're working anyways, or they were just doing some research on rates and they got what they needed, so they jumped out of there. With the booking engine abandonment campaign, what you're actually able to do is email those people after they've left your website. So, hey, I get this all the time with Best Buy. Hey, we saw that you left the Best Buy shopping cart. Did you want to go ahead and complete your purchase? That's email number one. Email number two is an incentive. Hey, it's been a couple days, your shopping cart's still here. Let me remind you what you have in it. If you go ahead and complete that reservation today using promo Book Now, then you can get 10% off. So really with this booking engine abandonment campaign, it's really about, again, staying in touch with those people who have shown interest with you, but for whatever reasons haven't booked or completed the reservation. Obviously, in this particular call out here, you can see 75% of visitors are actually leaving before completing their booking. So again, this is an opportunity that once you set it up, it kind of runs on its own. Automated emails that go out to those people just to remind them the value that you bring, why they should book with you, and provide some sense of urgency. So when you're implementing this particular type of campaign, utilize a branded template. You want to make sure that it matches your brand, clearly illustrates, the uniqueness that you have to offer at your property. Only send 3 emails. You don't want to overwhelm them. You don't want them to, again, start to get a negative taste in your mouth as it relates to you reaching out to them. Make sure that each one of those emails do provide some different messaging. Don't give them the same thing 3 times. Remind them, hey, you left. Give them an incentive to book, and then maybe add a promotion at the end. And then make sure that you have a very large, obvious call to action. We want them to book online. That booking button should go directly to your booking engine. Let's streamline that process. Your booking engine is set up correctly. You'll have rooms, photos, descriptions. You'll have all the rates. So you should have everything that you need to continue that process. Understanding that they've already gone through the research online. They've looked at your entire website. They made it to the booking engine. So those people should be a whole lot more likely to complete that reservation. So I know I've kind of rambled on here quite a bit. I hope that you guys found some value in some things that A, maybe you're already doing. It's good to get some confirmation that you're doing things the right way. Or B, there's some opportunities out there for you to hire an agency or reach out to your current agency and say, hey, can you speak to me about how you guys implement PPC or remarketing? Or what are you doing for me from a blogging standpoint to make sure I'm staying visible? All of that stuff is extremely important. Last slide here is just to kind of give you guys an FYI. We have a hotel COVID-19 survival guide. It's a resource guide free for you to download on our website. It pretty much covers everything from the guest journey, the marketing component, a lot of the topics that we talked about today, the booking engine, the reservation software, and then really what you need to nurture your business and control that success long term. We will provide you a link in the email follow-up to this resource guide so you have it. If you don't want to wait, again, jump on our website and you'll be able to get access to that immediately. And then for those of you who want to speak to me directly, we could do a discovery call, talk about RezStream, how we can help you better understand what you're doing today. If there's any opportunity for us to help grow your business, we'd love to do that. My phone number and email is right here for you on the slides. So at this point in time, I'm going to check my chat here and see if I had any questions come through. And I would also open it up to you all to see, think about if there's any questions that you have. Okay, so I do have one question here. It's talking about what we do for our marketing clients. So basically, from a marketing standpoint, it's everything that you kind of saw what your vendor should be doing. We have a account manager that oversees the entire account, and then you have a team underneath that account manager who is really executing the work for you. So you have your website person that's providing website support, making changes. You have your SEM, social engine marketer specialist who's doing your PPC ads, developing content for blogs, looking at your remarketing campaigns, so on and so forth. So they pretty much what they do for you is put together a 12-month program. Here's what we want to do for you in the next 12 months. They take it quarter by quarter. They walk you through it, report on the results, get your get your feedback as it relates to, hey, this is what we want to do for a blog. Here's our social media calendar. What do you guys like? What don't you like? Same thing can be said for email campaign, on-page content. So great question. If that's something you want to learn a little bit more, get a demo on, definitely reach out and we'll get you squared away. Another question I have here is about meta search. So we use Google Hotel Ads with our channel manager connection to get that all set up for you. It does require that you have an agreement with Google Hotel to kind of get that part in place. But once we have it for you, again, we manage really the ongoing maintenance of it, making sure your ad copy is correct, your rates are in line, and all those things there. So again, that's just a very smooth channel for you to be competitive in, to be seen with those bigger boys, the Expedias of the world, but specifically highlight your hotel and that direct channel booking. Yeah, a couple of these other questions. Hopefully I answered those questions. Some of these are very similar to each other. Yeah, those were the two main questions that I see here. So it doesn't look like there's anything else at this point in time. I'm just going to conclude the webinar. Again, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to just sit with me and go through some of these things. We will be sending out an email here, like I said, usually within 24 hours with the recap and link to the recording. I encourage you guys to download our resource guide. And then in the future, we're going to be doing additional webinars talking about your website, your booking engine, what you need to do there, the role that your software plays as well. So we'll have continuous webinars along the lines of really helping you get through this pandemic and what your tools should be doing for you. Thank you again. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and hopefully we'll be in touch.